And welcome, everybody. This is Frederick Jones, the publisher of Saturday AM, the internet's and the world's newest and coolest, in my humble opinion, manga anthology. We are a global publication. We have creators and concepts from all over the world, and we are hugely influenced by Shonen Jump. And today is a very special day as we come upon midnight here in the United States. It's the end of an era, which is the one of the most visible Shonen Jump manga ever, called Naruto, and it ended today in a very awesome two-chapter finale of this manga, which was run for 90 chapters. It ended actually on chapter 700. Naruto is one of those manga that has divided opinion from amongst a lot of anime and manga fans, and so we wanted to have the opportunity to discuss it. This is an open hangout, so we're going to talk about it with those people who wish to discuss it, and also we'll get into a couple things that reflects stuff that we're doing with Saturday AM. So again, thank you for joining us. We expect it to for more people to show up here pretty quickly. But and we'll have some of our creators of Saturday AM here as well in the course of this broadcast. Saturday Q&A, for those of you who see the title, is the name of our YouTube series, and it is a series that we do usually every Saturday, and it tends to be long form interviews that we do, in-depth interviews with digital creators, mostly people who are webcomic creators, but we also are going to be focused on creators who are digital musicians or people who do their work for music on sites like YouTube. And we're also talking to video game creators as well. So we have a new season of Saturday Q&A coming up very soon. So if you enjoy this particular discussion tonight, hopefully you'll come back and check out our YouTube channel and check out other great interviews and discussions that we've had. And we've got really big ones coming up for season 2 of Saturday Q&A. Likewise, if you're not familiar with Saturday AM, we again are digital manga anthology. You can subscribe for just $5 a year, and you get 20 issues that we publish, and you'll get whatever the latest issue is. And right now, as a matter of fact, we're coming upon our 20th issue. And this is a huge accomplishment because most creators who try to produce things, amateur creators who try to produce things online, do not last as long as we've lasted, suffice to say, and certainly not with the level of work that we have, in the sense that we have creators from all over the world. We produce it in a mag, not just people uploading their pages to a site like some of these websites where you just upload your comic. This is a fully, truly crafted magazine where you've got layout and design, and we've got articles, and we've got really expressive content that is original and awesome, and every bit as good as Naruto and One Piece and things like that. So we're really proud of the accomplishment, and we hope that if you don't know anything about Saturday AM, you'll check it out, www.saturday-am.com. Again, for those of you who are viewing, there are lots of ways that you can interact and make your voice known. One way, of course, is via our Facebook fan page. If you are a member of that, which is facebook.com/Saturday AM. You can post questions and comments there. We're going to be discussing Naruto tonight, of course. And then conversely, we also have a private group on Facebook, which is called the Saturday AM Pilot Manga. You can voice questions there. Last but not least, if those of you who are familiar with Hangout, you can access the chat application or the Q&A application, and you can post your comments and questions there as well. So this is going to be an open-ended chat. I'm not expecting this to last more than about 45 minutes, but we do want to discuss something that I think for many of the young people who are fans of our stuff and who have read Naruto these last several years, this was a big moment today. This was a really big moment because most young people who discovered manga in the last 20, 30 years, they weren't there for the ending of Dragon Ball officially. They may have seen the anime that was aired in their country, but they really weren't there for the end of Dragon Ball. They certainly weren't there for the beginning of Dragon Ball. And so for Naruto, which most certainly was very close to being a full run in the United States and in the West, and to have the influence that it's had, and the influence that the West had on Naruto. We'll talk about that tonight. I think this was a really big moment, and so I'm curious to hear people's thoughts as to what they felt when they read the final chapter. I'm curious to know how you read the final chapter. Naruto is one of the most pirated mangas ever in the history of manga. So curious to get people's thoughts as to how they experienced it, what they thought about it, what their expectations are for the next part of the Naruto story, and what they think it means for manga in general. Are there manga that you have gravitated towards since you knew Naruto was ending, and how do you feel about the new manga that you read versus Naruto? So again, I expect several people to come in, and we're looking forward to having a good conversation here. So let's just jump right into it. Naruto today, and let me just say, of course, there will be spoilers. So if you have not read Naruto, this video, of course, will be posted on our YouTube channel. So you will have a chance to experience this after you've read Naruto. So please do that, because I hate to spoil something for people. But we will have spoilers because we're going to discuss Naruto today. So let's just jump right into what happened. This has been going on now for about 3 years, the final story arc, which was about this gigantic ninja war. And we got to meet and learn a tremendous amount of things in this, in the sense of we had to find out kind of the father and mother, if you will, of just the entire ninja world, in the sense of the people who actually birthed the ability for these ninjas in Naruto to have these powers that they have, both the ocular and the genjutsu, and just all the sort of things that came from this. We got a chance to meet other clans, which we had not really seen a lot of, the other nations. And so I thought the setup of this was extraordinary. I thought it was a really, really well set up context for Naruto, because Naruto, of all the manga that have debuted in that era of time, we're talking basically about One Piece and Bleach, and some that have come and gone since then, like Reborn. I think Naruto, and what Masashi Kishimoto deserves credit for intensely, is, unlike I think many of those other guys, you could make a case for Ichiro Oda. He has built a very plausible, realistic, in terms of the worldview that he set up, world. And it is a real testament for people who try to create content, to be able to see something like this, where you've got this much world that's been established, including these other nations and these other villages, and the politics involved, and the history of each one nation, how they tie to one another. I thought that was really masterful. And I think it was one of the things that kind of let you down, that he set this great premise up, and then we had this great premise as well of Sasuke coming back and embracing his potential evilness. And so that made the final 2 chapters kind of or several couple of chapters, kind of a dud for me, in the sense that things just move very rapidly. The Sasuke redemption was, I didn't think it was earned. The nations and their status and how they came into the fold was resolved very quickly. I mean, these are nations that have in the setup of the storyline generations of conflict with one, just magically fixes all these things. Naruto's always had that power to inspire the better judgment of people individually, including some of his enemies. But the idea he could do it to 5 other nations or 4 other nations, just, I thought that was a bit ridiculous. But but again, the setup for it was amazing, and I thought Kishimoto could have gone so many different really cool directions with it. And then, of course, chapter 700 comes, and we get to see what happens to a lot of these characters. So again, we're going to have spoilers. We're going to talk about that. But before we get into that, I see we've got some questions. Let's jump immediately into some of these questions that we've got here in comments. We start off with one of our main guys here. It's Amit, who says, he says he almost missed his stream. He was looking forward to the Naruto talk. It was his first manga read ever. And I think, again, for a lot of people of a certain age, Naruto does have that position where it's a property that many people have discovered, for the first time. So I certainly understand that. So Adam Tree, who I'm not familiar with, but he's someone who, this is the first time I've seen him in one of our Q&A. So welcome, Adam. And Adam says that He says he thinks it's a bit harsh when I said that it's the ending of Naruto. He says it's merely the end for Naruto Shippuden, and and he's absolutely right. He's right and wrong in what he said, but he's right in the sense that uh, this is, according to Kishimoto, and a lot of the marketing that has come from Shueisha, which is the original publisher of Naruto in Japan. They've indicated this is the end of an era, and that new Naruto project is how they term it. Will it's the beginning of the new Naruto project is how they mention it. Now, uh, you know, we'll talk about what that means because they've already kind of leaked a little bit of information as to what we can expect from Naruto, and I actually have some theories about what will actually happen with Naruto. I'll just say before we get to that later on, I don't think the manga is going to continue past this upcoming miniseries. I do not think Kishimoto's got another 10, 15-year story of Naruto and his descendants and things of that nature. I don't believe that's going to happen. I think we're being set up for something else to happen, which is just the crass business aspect of what Kishimoto and Shueisha and in some ways Toriyama has kind of pioneered. I think that's really kind of what's going to happen next is just more of a business thing. But nonetheless, I don't think we're going to see more of the manga past this little mini series that comes sometime in 2015. So it is the end of Naruto. I mean, just to be clear, it's the end of Naruto. Naruto Shippuden is just the name of the anime, which, by the way, that's also coming to an end. So Adam's wrong on those cases, but I get his point. Let's see here. As far as let me check to see if there's some other comments here. I see we got a handful of comments here in our Facebook group. Let's see what we got here. Okay. One thing I'm kind of curious about for those of you who are watching this is how did you all experience Naruto? Both how did you get into Naruto, and then how did you experience the finale of Naruto? In other words, are you subscribing to Shonen Jump, so therefore you were able to read it? What exactly is the context for Naruto for you as it relates to your own understanding of the property? And so I'll be curious. Feel free to again put that information inside of the chat window or the text, or you can post it within our Facebook fan page or our Facebook group, which is Saturday Pilot Manga Submissions Group. You can post those in either location, and we'd love to get your thoughts on that. Before we move on to chapter 700, we got questions again from Adam and Amit, and so let's check out first Amit's question here. Amit says he loved the final chapter because of every single parallel that it drew to the beginning of the series. It was really poetic. For example, Sasuke coming from a family of two siblings but only having a single child, and vice versa for Naruto, a complete circle. So very, very. That's a beautiful point as well, Amit. I actually noticed that myself, and I thought, well, I won't say I thought it was terrible. I mean, I thought Kishimoto hit us over the head for years about the legacy of the past and how it influences the legacy of the future. I think he really beat that over the head. So I don't think it's poetic in the classic sense, but definitely the fact that Naruto, who came from an isolated scenario, and we watched him grow metaphorically to have a giant family of associates, and then that he ends up having two kids is really interesting. I have a thing about the kids as well, but that's just a quibble. But I did think that was neat how they did that. I don't think it was profound at this point, just because of the way Kishimoto did some other things. Adam Tree says it was annoying how the world barely changed, despite Naruto wanting things to change so significantly. The final chapter showed no change in the world whatsoever, and I agree with Adam on that completely. I think so. For the people who don't know, what happened is you've been led down this path for years of a gigantic ninja war. So there was a huge ninja war that occurred between. Initially, it was the five nations kind of going to war against each other because of something that one of the Konoha ninja, which was a kid named Sasuke, did, and as a result, this war happens. Now, first things first, in war, there are lots of deaths, and so that Sasuke literally has blood on his hands is the first just amazing aspect of that whole scenario. Sasuke has blood on his hands because of igniting this war amongst these five nations, which could have gotten worse had had the five nations decided to work together because of the maturations of Madara and some of the other big ultimate villains. One of the downsides of this whole epic in the last couple of years is the fact that it just went by so quickly. As odd as that sounds, with everything I just said, 3 years worth of stories, it went by so quickly. And so, Madara should have been this huge threat, and he turned out to be just kind of a proxy. Obito, who was set up to be a big threat, turned out to be just a proxy. Kabuto, who was an interesting side player threat, was dispatched pretty quickly. The black white thing, I forget the name of it, the black white thing that could absorb stuff and work for Madara, or actually work for Kaguya. He turned out to be just kind of like a little weird proxy man. He wasn't really any significant threat. And then Kaguya, who was the mother of the ninja in this world that Naruto operates in, became this ultimate threat, which was pretty awesome. I thought. I mean, I didn't have any issue with it. A lot of people didn't like her as being the final threat. I actually kind of liked it. But on the flip side, like once you do that, once you go to that level of godlike power and you win, everything else after that's just kind of silly. And so there was Sasuke decides to actually fight Naruto, only to not actually be beaten by Naruto, but to be beaten in his heart, which is just ultimately as lame as it sounds. And then, as Ahmed indicated earlier, Sasuke then turns around and marries Sakura. Like he's done nothing to earn her love. He's he's tried to kill her, but this girl foolishly loves him, and we come to find out that in the future he and her hooked up and have a kid. And not only do they have a kid, but he's nowhere around. He's off wandering the streets while Sakura's raising the kid. So I thought that was just typical sort of Japanese weirdness. Just like it made no sense whatsoever. I did not capture any of the poetic nature of that. No offense on it. I thought that was just bizarre and silly and just didn't fit at all anything. Some people are upset about Naruto and Hinata getting together, even though there have been hints that there's a romantic connection, certainly from Hinata. The fact that, again, it wasn't earned. Naruto did nothing to show his care for her other than a little bit in the pain battle. The fact that they got together, the fact that they produced two children, one has blonde hair, one has black hair. Again, I don't understand that at all. I mean, it made no sense for Naruto to have blonde hair, but it makes no sense for two kids to be produced. One has black hair, one has blonde hair. So again, just silly stuff. It seems kind of quibbly, but it's the principle of the matter. It's like, be true to trying to tell a real story so you can get real emotions out of people. And that just didn't do it for me. As cute as it was, as much as all of us have followed Naruto to see him become a father and become Hokage, that part, all that stuff is really cool and inspirational, and you want to root, you're rooting for him. You're happy to see that he finally attained his dream, but that just kind of took me out of it. It's like, really, and not just that, but then one of the things that hasn't been talked about enough is the fact that when they announced this new movie, Naruto the Last, which takes place clearly when Naruto's Hokage, because he's got the new character design and everything. The kicker of all of this is that Naruto, it says it takes place 2 years later. And as we posted on our Facebook fan page and on our Naruto tribute page, which you can find on our website, you can go right to the homepage and click the button that says Naruto tribute and be taken right to the page. We post the animation work that shows Naruto and his kids. So the kids are clearly going to be in the movie. And it says in the movie, in the trailer, it takes place 2 years later. And it's just, you see that and you're like, 2 years later? 2 years later, he's got like kids that look like they're damn near 10 years old or 8 years. It's just, I will never understand the manga fascination and obsession with youth. I'll never get it. It makes no, like you just don't see that sort of stuff in American cartoons and, and TV shows. It's like, so what is Naruto supposed to be? Was he supposed to be like 21? He's got a 10-year-old kid. Like, it just makes no sense. This is ridiculous. So I don't know. There's a lot of those little pieces that kind of just fell apart for me because it's just like, not, it's like there's, as I said before, Kishimoto gets so much respect for building a world to then just kind of build this, to have a half-assed thought out world ending, or what could be a half-assed thought out world ending. I mean, maybe there's certainly room for me to be wrong. Like maybe the movie's a flashback, who knows? But those are all things that just make no sense to me. And so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it all plays out. Um, but um, but yeah, I mean, chapter 700, I was kind of lukewarm to it. I'm with Adam Tree. I felt like there was a lot of things there when you set up that sort of conflict that everything just kind of stays the same. I mean, we see that the nations now have really good relationships with each other, and that's great. But they're just everything's kind of stayed the same, you know. And I thought that was kind of a letdown from my perspective. So that's uh that's kind of my thoughts on chapter 700. But I'm really proud to have read it. I'm really proud of Kishimoto to have made this incredible achievement. I'm proud that Naruto was a sort of breakout hit that manga needed to expand itself internationally. And I must say, just as a side, as the head of Saturday AM and my vision of Saturday AM, which was to basically be a Shonen Jump, but instead of having it just look like all Japanese or white kids, that we have a diverse lineup of creators and a diverse lineup of characters. I'm extremely proud that Kishimoto actually showed us some diversity in the Ninja Village at the final chapter. It took the final chapter to do it, but you know we get to see that there is a black person. We get to see a lot of stuff. So I'm really proud of that, and I give credit to Kishimoto. You know, I give a lot of credit to Kishimoto for even attempting that and just showing his progression in terms of his own view of ethnicity and race and his fans and all that stuff. So just that it made me actually quite happy with the chapter. And it Choji was the one that ended up with the interracial relationship. I thought that was pretty funny as well. So yeah, I was happy to some degree. I was let down on other degrees, but as a professional, as a fan, as someone who's followed this industry and this culture that produces anime and manga since the early 1980s, I am really just really appreciative to have even been a part of this experience in my life. I think Naruto's a watershed moment for manga and anime. So yeah, so that's that. Let us now go to some questions. We got some great questions coming up here. And again, if you are just joining us, you can feel free to leave some questions in our special Naruto finale chat. You can do so via the Q&A function, which I see some people are doing. You can do it on our Facebook fan page, which is www.facebook.com/SaturdayAM. And you can do it if you're a member of our private group on Facebook, which is called the Saturday AM Pilot Manga Submissions Group. You certainly can post something there as well. So we'll be checking all of those to see where there are some questions. And we've got several questions now. We'll just go ahead and get to them right at this moment. So let's jump into some new questions here that we've got. First and foremost, let's see, someone new here. We have Mr. Tomodachi. So Mr. Tomodachi states that the main letdown of Naruto was that it fell for the standard cliche of using the power of friendship to kill God. I think he meant good, because I don't know if they meant to kill God. But yeah, and I would agree with Mr. Tomodachi. I think, again, this is one of the challenges that I put to all of our creators who are engaged with Saturday AM and Afternoon WebX, is I push them to try to tell stories that they would see in Hollywood. And you know, and I'm very upfront about this. I don't, you know, I've traveled around the world. I'm very upfront about the fact that, you know, I'm in the content business and I have a professional background as an executive in the content business. And, you know, there's a reason why Game of Thrones and why Marvel superhero movies are dominating at the box office everywhere around the world, because they're produced in the West and we know how to tell stories, and our stories have endings, and the characterizations of our characters actually come across as real characterizations. This period of manga and anime that we're in, where the male characters are kind of emo and they're afraid to have relationships, and we rarely ever get honest relationships portrayed in anime. It's, you know, I know I'm older than a lot of you guys, but it's so hard for me to take it seriously, and I can only blame the Japanese for it, because I've traveled to Japan. I was a student in Japan. I know that that's not how. I mean, the Japanese are just like every other community in the world. They have concerns about all the same things that we all have concerns about, but for some reason, the mangaka mentality has permeated the content, and it just produces some really bizarre tropes that just aren't at all things that exist in real life. You know, this notion that boys are afraid to talk to girls, and the girls have to be very loud and aggressive like Sakura, uh, and that we have to have this redemption story. I mean, I cannot think of too many times we've seen a character who's not per se evil do something evil and actually pay for it. They always end up being like the cool anti-hero, which is just ridiculous. You know, you'll never see Joker teaming up with Batman. You know, and that's a comic book that never has an ending. But you'll never see Joker teaming up with Batman. I mean, not in a real way. So I don't know. I agree with you completely, Mr. Demanchy. I thought that this whole trope in this current era of a manga and anime, that friendship is all you need. And we see it in Haikyuu. We see it in we just see it in so many anime manga right now that it's ridiculous. And I'm hoping that somebody comes along, tries to tell an earnest and hardcore real story, and just does away with that kind of silliness. Because right now, I mean, shonen manga is just really in a bit of a doldrums. Aside from Attack on Titan, which also has this silliness that goes on from some of the mangaka in Japan. I mean, where are the black people in Attack on Titan? I don't know. Or where are those Latino people? But once you get past those things, you know, it's like the last manga that really attempted to be significant and true in its emotional state was Death Note. And I just haven't seen anything since then that really does that. And Naruto, this chapter, you know, this finale did not hit those beats for me personally. Even though I liked a lot of it, did not hit those beats for me. And the whole friendship thing, particularly with Sasuke, that just really, I found that very frustrating. Let's see here. We have Evan Akamian, who states, who has a comment. I think it's just a comment. He's stating that the movie Naruto the Last takes place way before chapter 700, and that's great. You know, as I said before, I think that's probably the case. I said, you know, I think that could be the case. I'm not sure. I hope that's the case. Maybe I thought when you see the trailer that it kind of gives a bit of an idea that this is the untold story of how Naruto and Hinata become a husband and wife, or they, you know, Naruto still looks pretty damn young, but you know, hey, what are you gonna do? Let's see here. We've got another comment now. We've got two comments from Amit, so we're going to do one of them, and then we're going to move over to some comments on Facebook. Amit is saying that he watched through Toonami for the first time, read through scanlations for the final chapter because he supports the series through volume releases. Okay. So Kaguya was okay. So first of all, Amit's just answering the question I asked to everybody watching this, of saying, you know, how did you get into Naruto, and how did you experience this final chapter? And so Toonami was the gateway for Amit. And I think that was what, 2006, 2007, and then he was stating that, or maybe later, probably 2008. And then he supports the volume releases. So he did read the scanlation of this, but he supports the volume. So that's great. And Kaguya, the godlike mother of all ninja, was annoying because she was the most one-dimensional villain of the series. And I totally agree. I couldn't agree with you more. I think you're absolutely right about that. I think probably, frankly, that's why I liked her. I thought it was ballsy to just have a villain who was just evil, you know, because again, the opposite of that, the flip side of that, is that we got villains like Sasuke, who weren't bad, they just were misunderstood, and that's lame. That's so lame. That's so lame. In a world we live in where people are getting their heads chopped off, and people are you know, attacking children on days like Halloween here in the United States. You know, there's real evil in the world, and you know, while nothing is ever pitch black, while some stuff is gray, a lot of stuff is gray. You know, I don't know. That didn't bother me as much, but I get your point. Let's see. Let's move on before we start talking about future of Naruto. Let's move on now to some Facebook comments here. So let's see here. So Kamani Jackson asks in our Facebook pilot manga group, he says, "Why do you think Naruto's gone? He feels a hole that maybe because Yu-Gi-Oh and Naruto were from his childhood." He does feel that Naruto was rushed, and he hated how Madara turned out to just be fodder. He wasn't the great big villain that we were promised. He truly was a god in Kamani's opinion, but he thinks the ending was okay because for him the nostalgia factor was a big deal. And I'll say, Kamani, thank you for your question. I agree with just about everything you said there, and I'll answer your question here in a minute. But I agree. For me, and again, I'm older than a lot of you guys by, in some cases, 20 years. I agree with you. I mean, Naruto. Again, I was a grown man by the time when Naruto came out, and when I discovered it, I fell in love with it. I discovered it before I think a lot of you guys did. And I fell in love with it and thought, wow, this is Harry Potter if it meets ninjas, and I just really love the world building of it. And so for me, yes, to see the ending of it, while I've been a part of endings before, Gundam, the original Gundam series, I'm sorry, the original Zeta Gundam series, anime, which was a watershed moment in anime in Japan, and Dragon Ball and some of the other things. I think for me, this one was special just because I can honestly say I genuinely was at such a mature place as it related to anime manga that, and I was in the entertainment business, so I was looking at, I was creating properties, trying to work with properties that were becoming these big, trends that I have a tremendous amount of respect and love for Naruto as a nostalgia item because I remember it just for me at that time, it was such a big deal what it represented for manga and anime. And I just was really happy to see that it came to this place of respect and was able to end on a note of the creator's choosing and not, as happens a lot in manga, of the choosing of other people. He chose his ending because he was still doing very well everywhere around the world. So yeah, that to me, I agree. Nostalgia was a big part of the ending. Why I think it got big, I think that I can only speak comfortably. I can only speak about the United States because I can't, I mean, in Japan, there are elements that I can hypothesize based on my experience with the Japanese, but ultimately, I think I can only speak clearly about the United States. And I think in the United States, I think two things happen. I think one is ninjas are very popular in the United States, and so again, when you take this thing that is very popular but is not really understood because no one really, like, we don't have any superheroes in the United States that are ninja based, right? We have Batman, who's like the closest thing to a ninja. So this idea of kind of stealthy, athletic people, is a really cool thing that American kids and American genre fans love. It's just that we never really had anything ninja oriented that we could look at as the example of it. And so the fact that Naruto took that as part of this ethos, I think instantly made it kind of cool for people. The same way that Pokemon, the idea of these little monsters that were your best friend and they could, but they could also fight. I think that it was something similar that just really appealed to the American kid. The other part of it, though, and particularly, again, I speak as an African American, I think Naruto represented something that was really different from manga. And even though it did the same thing that manga tropes do for the Japanese, where you got a kid who clearly is a white kid, but he's got a Japanese name, there was something about the way Kishimoto created that world in terms of the like everything. He gave definition to everything. I mean, Hunter x Hunter is one of my favorite manga. It's one of my favorite anime of all time. But let's face facts. Mitoto Rishi's character design is nowhere at all near the level of awesome that Kishimoto's character design is. Dragon Ball is nowhere near the level of awesome that Kishimoto's character design is. Bleach has some really interesting ideas from character design, but Bleach as a property is nowhere near as popular as Naruto. I think the character design, the world building, I think that did something specific for kids who were American, who were other ethnicities, because it was a real world. It was something that they could actually think about and put themselves in that context. And I think that's one of the reasons why we ended up with the land of lightning or whatever it is that Killer Bee and his clan come from, because every convention you went to in Kishimoto, the same thing happened to him. Same thing happened to Shonen Jump editors, both from Japan and from in America. They would see a whole lot of black kids and Latino kids dressed up as these characters, and they were like, "Wait a minute, we didn't anticipate that. This has a real connection to other communities, and I think it's because other communities can say, like, they can say, yeah, okay, well, I know Konoha is mostly white, but I know, but I bet there's a badass ninja clan, ninja village in another part of the world, and that's got black, or Latino or whatever, and like you could take that world and you could just like live in that world. And I think that gave definition to a lot of people, to women, to gay people, to African Americans. And anytime you look at a property that explodes and becomes really, really big, it usually has to do with the idea that you're taking something that's really familiar to people, but then you're giving it some sort of like real world building definition that people can look at and go, I can see myself in that. I can see how I would fit in that. And you can look at, every property does this. X-Men does it. Marvel superheroes, to some degree, but X-Men was like the before Captain America and Iron Man became household movie names, X-Men was what kept Marvel afloat. When I was in college, it was X-Men was the only thing keeping Marvel alive back then. And then you had, Harry Potter. Harry Potter is hugely popular around the world. I don't care if you're a kid from Pakistan or a kid from Singapore or a kid from Brazil. Harry Potter is huge. But again, it's this world, this huge world that you could imagine being a part of. Even if the main character was this, you could still see yourself as being a part of this world. And I think, the best properties do that. They create a world that makes you feel like you can be in this world. They don't shut it off from you. And so I think that's one of the things that makes it really kind of cool and unique. And so I think Kishimoto's world building, I don't think it gets nearly the credit that it deserves. I've given this example before that in the first Naruto movie, when he does character designs, and all the manga creators do character designs, quote unquote, for their properties and when they get turned into movies. But what made Kishimoto special was he took like real attention to subtle stuff, right? So like the fact that it takes place in a land of snow, like he actually like gave them like, he kept the footwear the same, but he modified it so that it actually would work in the snow and protect their feet. Like it was like little simple stuff like that, but he took it that seriously when creating the world. And I think that's one of the things that he will go down in history for, and that Naruto goes in history for, is that it's a real world. Like he created a real, functional, well thought out world, and I think that is why it will always be significantly popular in the world of manga. Dragon Ball Z is not a world. It's lunacy, it's cartoon, it's Superman in manga, but it's not a world. Naruto is a world. You can say a lot of stuff about Naruto, but it's a world. He created a world that will live on long past Naruto. So that's my long answer to that. I know it's kind of a rant, and I'm known to do those. Let's see here. So that's the answer there. Let me see if we've got any other questions here, and then we'll talk about the future. And we'll also make some special announcements regarding test flight and Saturday AM and all that good stuff. Let's see. Amit has a comment here, and then we'll get to talk about the future of Naruto, what we think that might mean. Amit says, favorite part of chapter 700 was Rock Lee training his kid. He says, I also rather enjoyed the camaraderie between Ichiro Oda and Kishimoto. The One Piece cameos in Naruto and the Naruto cameos in One Piece made me feel awesome for some reason. I totally agree. I mean, I think, again, if you go to some of these message boards, I go to a few of them where it's like the hardcore Shonen Jump fans around the world who are literally like translating the manga, right? Manga Helpers is one of them. And so then you go to the message boards, and they have great message boards, and they have really, like, I get information from them. So I'm a big fan of those. I'm not a fan of scanlations, but I'm a big fan of the message boards of some of these sites. And I'm always struck by the hardcore manga fan who reads the Japanese raws and hates Naruto. I'm always struck by this. It's one of those psychological things that just annoys me for several reasons. There would be no Shonen Jump in most of the world if Naruto didn't exist. It is just ridiculous that somehow that, I don't care if you're the most hardcore One Piece fan in the world. Yes, One Piece is in Japan a phenomenon, but that's in Japan. There is no amount. I was reading in Manga Helpers, and people were talking about this the other day, and you had, of course, some of the guys there who know what they're talking about. But I mean, I actually work with Viz. I work with some of these companies in Japan. I was in the industry. I know for a fact. I mean, I know the numbers, the ICV numbers. There is no way that Shueisha would have had the success with Shonen Jump in the West if Naruto didn't exist. Period. End of story. Game over. Stop. One Piece is a phenomenon in Japan. It is not a phenomenon anywhere else. Naruto is a phenomenon just about everywhere else, and it just happens to be, behind One Piece a lot in Japan. But when I say a lot, we're talking that One Piece is a true phenomenon in Japan, followed by Dragon Ball Z, followed by well, I'm not sure what the third one is, but Naruto I think is like 4, 5, or 6 last time I checked. So it's not even in the top 3 if I remember correctly. But you know what? So what? Naruto everywhere else is Shonen Jump's cash cow. When they launched Shonen Jump in the United States, they had a trifecta. They had Yu-Gi-Oh, which was huge in the United States in the early 2000s. They had Dragon Ball Z, which was huge in the United States in the early 2000s. And they had Naruto, which became the breakout hit. Of all the properties that I just mentioned, the only one still killing it in Shonen Jump is Naruto. One Piece was not a factor then and not a factor today. It's certainly more popular today in America than it was, but the notion that somehow One Piece is a big deal everywhere else that's just that again. That's someone who really is taking their fandom to levels of just that are not backed up by any facts whatsoever. And same thing with Bleach. Bleach was insanely popular in the United States when it came out, like insanely popular, and it fell like a rocket. And as I understand it, it's done the same thing in Japan as well. Bleach is a great manga, and we have a lot of love for Bleach at Saturday AM, but it's no Naruto. I mean, it's just no Naruto. So yeah, I think that the relationship between Kishimoto and Oda is earned. I think Oda respects Kishimoto as he should. Naruto is literally one of the most powerful manga in the world right now. Has been usurped by Attack on Titan, which is just killing it just about in every territory it's in. But before Attack on Titan, Naruto was it in terms of manga, successful manga around the world. I mean, it's just facts. That's just the way it is. Whether you like Naruto or not, whether you think it's silly or not, Naruto is the face of manga in most parts of the world. So I think I do agree. I think it was great that those two did that. I think they should be the ones doing that. I mean, I don't see, for example, I don't see Oda doing that for Kubo. I don't see Oda doing that for Akira Amano. But why would he not do it for one of the biggest manga ever in Naruto? Of course he should do it, and vice versa. Kishimoto should do it for Oda because Oda is truly a special manga creator in terms of what he's done with One Piece. Let's talk about the future of Naruto. My perception of the future of Naruto is that it will not continue as a manga in any long context. I do not envision it actually existing as some long, drawn-out manga the way this one was, right? I don't see another 15 years of Naruto Generation 3 or whatever they want to call it. I don't see that. I think that this movie that's coming up and the miniseries, which has been announced, which we can only assume will star his kids or feature his kids to a large degree. My perception of what's going to happen there is that we're going to see basically a setup and kind of a lingering kind of thread that can be exploited for future movies. The same way that Dragon Ball Z literally can have a movie every year they want to have because Dragon Ball will forever be popular. There will forever be people who want to watch Dragon Ball. And at this stage of the game, we know that Goku's going to always power up. He's going to always win. And there will always be people there who want to watch it, even though the stories and the epic aspects to where Goku could die have already been told. And so now it's just a cash cow. It's just something that's going to forever live. It's the Japanese Superman, the Japanese Marvel comics where characters never really change. And Naruto is going to become that, except it's going to be positioned to a point in Naruto's life where he's got kids and, the kids now are the new heroes but we still might see Naruto pop up. And I think that's what we're going to get. And I think that's great. I think, manga, and I could be wrong, of course, as always, I could be totally wrong. But in my opinion, of course, that's the way it should be, and credit to Kudo for Kishimoto for doing that because, what a lot of people forget, and we know it intensely with Saturday AM with our publication, but this is hard damn work. Producing that much content, 700 chapters, working when you're sick, producing that many pages on a weekly basis. I don't care how many assistants you have, unless they're literally drawing Naruto for you and everything else. There's just no way. I mean, that's a sacrifice that you make when it comes to your kids, your family, your life, your health, and hey, you know what? He told the story. He finished it off. It wasn't the ending that I think it could have been. It wasn't the sort of deserved ending for some of the characters that should have been. But you know what? He did his thing. He did his job for 15 years, and now he's gonna, cash out. He's already a multi-millionaire. He's not gonna cash out, and you're probably gonna see Naruto movie every couple of years. And so be it. That's what I think is gonna happen. But I will bet a subscription to Saturday M, that free subscription, that there is not a chance in hell that he tells another 15-year Naruto story with those kids. There's not a chance in hell. So that's my perception of what's going to happen. I'm eager to hear what you guys think. Feel free to drop a line here. We're going to be ending this. Special Q&A within the next 15 minutes. So if you've got questions, comments regarding the future of Naruto or anything else, feel free to drop those into either the Q&A application here in the Hangout window. You can also post it into our Facebook fan page, facebook.com/Saturday AM. And you can post it into our private group, Saturday AM, on Facebook, Saturday AM Pilot Manga Submissions Group. And we will be streamlining a lot of this as we go forward. So please bear with us, because I know that's hokey that we have to say, hey, go here. We say the address and stuff. We've got a ways to go, but I promise you, we're getting there. We're going to eventually have a better setup for these Q&As and all that good stuff. And I'm posting right now in the showcase. If you haven't seen it, one of the announcements I wanted to make to you is we did a special tribute to Naruto, and we're going to be posting to it all week this week. But please feel free to check it out. It's quite cool. It is the paying our respects to the Naruto manga, and it features character artwork from creators all throughout Saturday AM. So everybody associated with Saturday AM is a part of this, and you should really check it out. It is fantastic. It is literally fantastic, and we've got art there from White Manga, the creator of Apple Black. We've got special art there from new creators like Justin Anision, who is going to be working on a manga for us called Gray Zone. Raymond Brown, who is the creator of Bully Eater. We've got some really amazing art. We've got more art coming from people who just are part of our family and just wanted to express their appreciation to Mr. Kishimoto-san, as well as the Naruto manga itself. And we hope that you check out that tribute. If you're watching this Q&A right now, more than likely you're watching it on that page on our website. And you may be asking, who exactly is Saturday M? We are a digital manga anthology. We feature about 5 to 7 manga regularly within every issue. Our issues typically run anywhere from 80 to 100 pages to over 100 pages. You can subscribe for just $5. You get 20 issues. You can't beat that. And there are no webcomic digital creators who are matching the sort of output that we're matching in terms of quality, presentation, content, and consistency. We haven't missed an issue yet. We have all these issues come out. We're having our 20th issue come out this weekend, and we hope you check it out. Again, you can subscribe at www.saturday-am.com/subscribe. Just $5. If you do it today, you get issue 19, and then you get our final issue of 2014, issue 20. And in issue 20, you're going to hear some special announcements that we're going to have regarding future content that we'll be producing this year before the year ends. So we got a couple of big announcements coming up that we're going to talk about in this very special final issue of 2014, which is issue number 20. Other announcement I want to make is that we will be at NC Comic-Con. If you're not familiar with NC Comic-Con, it is a comic convention, a very intimate and awesome comic convention located in Durham, North Carolina, which is my hometown. It is awesome. And if you at all love manga, comic books, creativity, you should check this out. There's going to be actors like John Barrowman, who's been in Doctor Who. He currently stars as Malcolm Merlin in the TV show Arrow, based on DC Comics' Green Arrow. You can also expect to see legends like Neil Adams, who's one of the superstar comic artists of the 70s, like Jim Lee is today. There's also some really awesome up-and-coming artists like Afua Richardson, who's got a book out called Genius, and Fiona Staples, who has a huge book out right now called Saga, which is huge in America. And then likewise, there'll be some executives like Scott Alley, who's the editor-in-chief of Dark Horse, which is one of the biggest comic companies in the world. They produce a lot of the comics that you see based on big movies. They used to do Star Wars, for example. All the comics for Star Wars. Now they do Aliens and Predators and and a lot of cool stuff. So hopefully you have a chance to check it out for yourself. You can go to www.nccomiccon. I'm actually posting information right now in the showcase, and you can also find some posts that we have about the upcoming creators in our blog post. But again, hopefully you'll check it out for yourself. If you can't, do know that we will have interviews with creators and superstars like John Barrowman all throughout this coming weekend, because I will be there personally. And if you're there, you can look me up, because we're having a beer draw night. How awesome is that? They're gonna have a night where you can get together and have beer and draw. Have beer and draw. Now, you just don't beat that. That's awesome. So again, if you want to check out a really cool comic convention and you're in the Raleigh-Durham area or somewhere nearby, so North Carolina, please check it out. I'll be on the 15th and 16th of this weekend, and we're really excited to be there, to be a guest, and to be not to be interviewing some of the guests for our website. And so that is everything that we've got regarding that. Now, a quick announcement regarding our test flight, our upcoming test flight. We are going to be delaying this test flight possibly until next week. The reveal of the winner. We had a contest that the test flight, for those of you who don't know, is something that we do for our private group called Pilot Manga. Basically, what we try to do is help a community of manga webcomic creators discover their potential. And we put together contests where those creators can participate with one another, and we give them tasks, and we have these big concepts searches for new, kind of like The Voice or American Idol, where we look for new manga ideas, and the winner gets us to produce their manga, the first chapter of their manga, pilot manga, in one of our vehicles like Saturday AM or Saturday Plus or Afternoon WebX. And it's been huge. We've had tremendous turnout with it. And so this latest month we had a unique contest. And so the entries look fantastic. It's just that this is our final issue this week. We've got the convention. And so we're supposed to do the live winner reveal tonight, as a matter of fact. And we're going to have to postpone that until next week because it's just difficult getting everybody together for that. So my apologies for that. But what I will say is that because of that experience, we're going to be doing something very different for the next test flight. And so I'm here to officially announce that the next test flight will run throughout the end of November into December. And it will feature, and there won't be a test flight in December because of the holidays. And it will feature the ability for you to tell an original story of your own choosing with your own characters, over 10 pages. And we're going to publish them all. Now, again, we're not going to publish them all if you if you have things that we've stated you can't have. So no nudity, no sex, no gratuitous violence, no racism, or things that just would make you a not good person, and certainly not a person of Saturday AM's caliber. But we want to get content out there. We want to help you get your content out there. And so if you are a member in good standing of Saturday AM Pilot Manga, then we're going to take your idea and we're going to set it up for you. And we're going to talk more about it, but it's going to be very cool. And of course, there will be winners, and those individuals will have other opportunities ahead of them. But we do want to reward everybody for participating and trying to legitimately produce a really cool, interesting idea for a story. So I just want to give that shout out to everybody. The next Pilot Manga test flight is going to be awesome. It's going to be huge, and you're going to be able to finally get to create and publish your manga right with us right on Saturday AM. So I just wanted to make that special announcement. Saturday AM issue number 20 comes out this weekend. Saturday AM, Saturday Plus, our newest manga anthology, comes out a week after that. And then we've got a very special Christmas announcement coming up, as well as a special announcement regarding Saturday AM and Afternoon WebX. And then we'll also be talking here soon about Apple Black Volume 1, which will be coming available soon, very soon, as in this year. So do check out issue 20, because there's a lot of information that's going to be stuff's going to be about to come out, and we're very excited about everything we're doing. And we also have big announcements coming for Saturday Wars as well. So don't sleep on our big manga webcomic crossover that features all of our characters and more characters getting together in one gigantic story. That's coming. That's coming. So again, this is Frederick Jones. I'm the publisher of Saturday AM. I want to thank everybody for joining us. I see we've got one last question here from Mr. Tomodachi, and also I think one other question on Facebook. And so we will answer both of those. And then if there's any other question, I will certainly answer them before we sign off. But let's get to those real quickly. So the question here from Mr. Tomodachi, his question is there a way we could have our Naruto tribute art featured? And so there is a way, Mr. Tomodachi. So we still have art that we've gotten. If you're a member of our pilot manga submissions group, we've already said if you send the art to us at if you post it, in our forum, go into the Naruto ending forum and post your artwork there. If you post your artwork there, we will take it, and as long as it does not feature a couple of things, it can't feature obviously any nudity, gratuitous violence. So try to have it really be a tribute to Naruto and not an advertisement for something that's not Naruto. You can have a character you design in there if you like, but obviously, we don't know who that is, and so again, it might look kind of silly as an advertisement. So what we recommend is that you stick to it being Naruto. If it doesn't have Naruto in it at all, we won't accept it. And likewise, if you do want to put other characters in there, like Goku from Dragon Ball or Luffy from One Piece, or even Sano or somebody from one of our manga, we're okay with that. Again, as long as you're respectful to the art, respectful to the characters, just publish it to the forum on our website, saturday-am.com, www.saturday-am.com. Go to the forum channel, look for the Naruto section, post it right there. We will get it, and then we'll take that artwork, and if it's okay, we'll post it officially on the tribute page. So that's how you do that. And again, we will be moving our pilot manga group, which is our group for amateur manga creators, because we don't take submissions. So if you're interested in trying to be a part of Saturday AM, then you must join the pilot manga, and we're going to be moving that to our own forum on our website very soon, within the next couple of weeks. So please do that. The final question that we have here is from Frederick Ward, who is the creator of an upcoming manga that will be featured in Saturday Plus as well, called Comet Man. I cannot recommend this webcomic enough to you guys. I hope everyone checks it out. You can discover Comet Man and Gray Zone, two manga that we've mentioned tonight, on our website at www.saturday-am.com/plus, Plus, plus. Go check that out, and you can see the logos, and we'll be posting some new artwork for those titles very, very soon. But Frederick Ward asks, when do you think the Naruto manga dipped in quality, if you think it did? To me, all of part one is excellent, and then it started to dip sometime after the Hidan Kakuza arc in Shippuden. I also think the final fights, Madara, Obito, etc., could have been a little bit shorter, as I think chapter number 699 was insanely rushed. So Frederick, we discussed this a little bit. I don't know if you just came into the chat, but we did discuss this a little bit earlier. For me, I agree with you completely. I think part one of Naruto is some of the finest manga quality that you will ever see. I thought it was, again, the people who hate on Naruto, to me, just they're that group of geek or that group of nerd that just, it's like they've got their special little thing, and once it becomes popular, then they feel abandoned maybe, and so they just lash out at it. I don't see how anybody criticizes Naruto in that first part, that first arc of Naruto being a kid up into the Sasuke, finally leaves the Konoha. That is just excellent. That is sheer excellence. I don't care what you say. It is phenomenal, well told, superhero, shonen style storytelling. The characterizations are fantastic. You really come to appreciate Naruto, even though his character is true to what he is, which is an annoying, acting out kind of kid. Everything about that is just so well done. The art really improves in that period as well, which I thought the art wasn't bad, obviously. That was a phenomenal arc. The second arc, I think for a lot of people, it started off stupidly. Just the notion that Sasuke is still being. I mean, this is when we got introduced to whiny Naruto. This was the whiny Naruto because not only had he grown. It's been 2 years. He's now taller. He's now more powerful. All these different things. But literally, Naruto is going after Sasuke, and he's not going after Sasuke to say, "Hey, I'm going to bring you back, or I'm going to kill you." He's going after Sasuke to change his heart. And Sakura, of course, is there who's spurring Naruto the whole time, so her character wasn't really particularly great either. And I think that instantly set a bad taste in people's mouth because again, it all the daring stuff that Kishimoto did, and I think back to the very first arc, the Zabuza arc, that was daring. That was daring. That was totally unique stuff that he was doing there. With the bisexual relationship between the two characters, Zabuza and the kid character, which was it was a kid. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff there he was doing that was totally daring. It was different. It was you had to respect it because he was really going at it hard. He wasn't like being like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. He was going after stuff hard. Once you picked up in part two, and we started this whole aspect that Sasuke, the Naruto now is older. He's trained by one of the greatest ninja of Konoha, and he's worried about trying to save Sasuke. It's like, you can want to do that, but also the fact that there's like no ninja aspect to him in the sense of like he's betrayed the village. If he's, if I get to him and he's evil, I'm going to kill him because, I can't, we cannot afford to have him around. That was not even like considered from Naruto, I think is where I think a lot of people, again, particularly in the West, I think got very frustrated with Naruto. Like, wait a minute, like this isn't realistic. That's all the things that happened in part one that just represented a real sort of sense of character. This does not represent a real sense of character. This guy, like he's already talking about friendship, stuff that manga does a lot now. I think that's where it started for me. And it never really got over it. I think the pain arc was probably one of the highlights, and the fight where Aburami died fighting the Hidan. The Hidan Kakuza. Yeah, I actually liked that arc. I actually thought it was a cool arc. I thought that was fun, and I thought the pain arc was pretty awesome. Outside, but then again, pain arc at the end of the pain arc, Naruto is able to get Pain to have a change in his heart after he's killed all these people, and then resurrect all the people that he killed. And that was beyond lame. That for me, Naruto started out stupidly in part two and got progressively worse. There were moments of brightness with the Akusa, Akatsuki, I mean, but past those little moments of brightness, it was mostly just kind of pap and emo and yeah, just I don't know. I didn't care for how a lot of stuff ended. And I'll see, said Sandito Christian. So he just barely woke up, made it, but I'm happy about the ending and glad that we are addressing it like this. So thanks, Sandito. We appreciate that. And like I said before, I mean, just like I talk to you guys regularly with Saturday AM, we've had some people who aren't really good at who don't take well to that sort of real talk, from me and from the way I try to run the company. But I mean, I try to be real about it. And if I met Kishimoto Sensei, I would ask for his autograph. I would tell him how just amazed I am to meet him. How I think he's a god to me in terms of stuff that he's done. But I didn't like the ending. I thought the ending was kind of rushed and silly and so on and so forth. But he will go down in history, for me at least, as one of the most important manga creators for his ability to build worlds. And I think he showed manga creators how it's done. I think the only other creator I can think of who effectively built a world, and I know this is silly to state because obviously I have not read all manga. I'm not, I can't say I'm familiar with manga at a degree of a historian, but the only other person I would give that sort of credence to for world building and being so complete in their world building is Arakawa, who did Full Metal Alchemist. I think that's another world that when you look at it and you see all the little choices she makes and how in-depth she goes for every little piece of that world, and you realize this is a real world she's built here. This is not some fake world that just happens. It's kind of the way that Western superhero comic books are, where you got Metropolis, but Metropolis is really New York, and it's really just a fake place anyway because people are crashing into buildings every other day when Superman fights them. these are real worlds, and they're really fleshing it out and giving identity to it. It's like a good fantasy novel. They really get into it and they think it through. And I think that Arakawa is up there with Kishimoto Sensei for developing just truly stunning and stellar worlds of manga content. So that's it, everybody. So I hope everyone enjoyed this conversation. Again, hats off to Mr. Kishimoto for producing what is going to go down in history as one of the greatest all-time manga, certainly one of the most popular manga ever in the history of manga and anime. Thank you guys for being fans of it and for wanting to take a few moments to share with us your thoughts about Naruto and its ending. We'll probably do this again for other media events like Avengers, Age of Ultron, stuff like that. I think it's fun to be able to talk about stuff like this with hardcore fans. And those of you guys who appreciate the stuff that we're doing, again, thank you. Because as we approach our 20th issue, let me tell you, it was not easy. And a lot of our guys, fought through a lot of adversity to get their content in on time. And again, I still stand by that statement. I don't care where else you try to show it to me. I can't there's no one who's done what we've done. No one who's taken that many creators, got them all on the same page, and produced a stellar looking product every 2 weeks for a year. I don't know who else has done that. I don't think anyone else has done that. And you have to prove to me someone else has done that. We did it. We're proud of it. The 20th issue is going to be awesome. It's going to wrap the finale of Apple Black for this first arc. Mytholocalypse Nova has been massively cool, and we're going to have some big stuff with that soon that you guys can check out. Bully Eater, Comatose has been phenomenal. I mean, we got some great stuff in there. And we got new manga coming, like Islanders from Leonardo Massa, which I think is going to be One Piece. I think it's going to be the next One Piece. Certainly for us, it's going to be One Piece because it's huge, it's comical, it's got such ideas flowing in it that you've never seen before. So I'm really proud of the stuff we're doing right now. And if you at all value independent comics, if you at all value the future of comics in terms of digital comics, please check out Saturday AM and Afternoon WebX. Just go to our website and get all the information you need at www.saturday-am.com and check it out. And then again, NC Comic Con, we will be there this weekend. The guys who run it are really fun guys, and the convention itself is awesome. It's just one of the most kind of fun, intimate shows that is getting bigger every year. So if you care about comics and just, and beer, then check it out. If you're in the North Carolina, Durham area, check out NC Comic Con. Find out more information at www.nccomicon.com. And that's that. Also, be on the lookout because Apple Black Volume 1 is coming. Get your money ready. Check out one of the hottest webcomic books on the planet from Mr. White Manga, which is exclusive with Saturday AM. Thanks, everybody. Have good fun. We'll see you. Season 2 of Q&A starts very soon. We've got working on a big interviewee for the first interview, so please stay tuned. Check out our previous season content for Q&A, our Saturday Q&A video series on our YouTube channel. You can check it out at youtube.com/myfootprint, MYFUTPRINT. That's it, everybody. Talk to you soon.